So today we have the Phanteks Evolv Shift 2. It's the second version of their Evolv Shift mini ITX case, and we're going to unbox it today. So stick around. So as with all things that come in the mail, we got this big cardboard box, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what's inside. So let's bring this down for a second here. Yep, there we go. It comes with their handy manual. That's pretty detailed. Let's take a look here. It's quite a heavy printed manual, very kind of glossy, if you can see here. And for the most part, yeah, it just details out, how to put everything in. So we're going to be taking a look at that. We've got a nice handy foam here. And then we have the case inside. Let's take a look here. Oh boy, this is going to be a tough one. Here we go. And there we go. Let's not drop it. There's glass. So this out. Oh, the opening's on the bottom here, isn't it? Yeah. Opening's on the bottom. Give me a second. Here we go. There it is. The Phanteks Evolv Shift 2. You can see there's this door here. Let's take a look around the other side. So here it is, the Evolv Shift 2 by Phanteks. I think this is one of the best looking cases I've ever seen, and because I've looked at a lot of cases, I've looked at a lot of different cases, and as a designer, I look for something, and as somebody that's coming from the Apple ecosystem, I look for something that looks good, that performs well, and it takes up a very limited amount of space. And I think an ITX build or a mini ITX build is something that I wanted to go down, even though it's my first build. And hopefully you guys stick around for that video of when we get this thing built and see how it performs. I've heard a lot about the Phanteks Evolv Shift. A couple of things to note that there is a little bit of an airflow problem compared to other larger cases, obviously. But for the most part, if you're water cooling it or if you have an AIO, then it shouldn't be much of an issue. And if you're not going to overclock these machines, you're not going to have much problems with it. And I don't think for the vast majority of people that are using PCs for creative work and for just kind of general work, you're not going to be overclocking them, even for gaming. You're not going to be overclocking them terribly. You know, there are situations where you're going to overclock it, but for the most part, you can get a lot of performance out of a combination of CPU and GPU. So I can't wait to get started on this. I have to wait, like everybody else, for the other parts to come in when they're in stock, because as you know, graphics cards and CPUs are something that are a little difficult to come by these days. So let's just talk about this case for a second here. What I love is how the build is done. Like, in terms of, this definitely reminds me of something out of Star Wars, something kind of on the Death Star, you know, on the Imperial side of things, with these flat, and I chose the anthracite color of the case, and if we swing it around the back here, you can see that, you know, we have all of these cutouts here, like all of these nice cutouts. And again, like, this reminds me of something out of Star Wars, something from the you know, Imperial side. So kind of excited for that. It's a nice little kind of nice detail of where, you know, kind of your exhaust is going to come out from, the, you know, all trying to exhaust all that hot air from the rear. The most interesting thing about the Evolv shift cases that I like is the motherboard is mounted differently. It's mounted, I don't want to say vertically, but it's kind of vertical, where you have all of your I/O or all of your rear I/O actually contained on the top. And that makes for a unique access point. Now I know the H1, the NZXT H1, the I/O is at the bottom, so it kind of flips it around. This one's at the top, which makes it a little easier to access if you need your I/Os. And it also has your has a hole for routing all your cables, kind of out your power cable, your HDMI cable, and whatever else, your DisplayPort cables. And then on the front here, let's swing this back. On the front, as you may or may not see, on the front at the bottom, we have two USB ports. Right now they're just covered by covers. Little rubber covers. They're USB 3.0A ports. I wish what they did was I wish they included USB-C ports on the front. That would have been a nice addition to this case. But again, and then at the top we have this nice kind of spring-loaded top lever or top panel that gives you access to the top. That gives you access to that top. So that gives you access to the rear I/O or all your rear ports on the motherboard, which ends up being your top ports. Usually heat will exhaust out of the top of your case, just because of, you know, hot air rising, but, you know, it's going to exhaust from the rear on this case. And and the sides, the fronts, the front and the rear are aluminum. They are a nice, you know, quality finished aluminum. It's not like a gloss. It's kind of, I don't want to call it satin, but I guess that's the closest thing I can think of right now. It's kind of like a satin metallic gray, which is great. You have this side grill here, helps for intake as well. And the sides are tempered glass. They're a tinted tempered glass, and I'm going to keep this film on just so that it's protected, so that I don't damage it before I make the build. And let's just see how this kind of comes apart. So Give me a second here. So if you look here, we have thumb screws. Here, 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 and here, here, and here, and here. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 thumb screws for your panels, which will make it easy to take out. Accessory box, and it's nice that they give a little box. Has it here, and we got a nice little toolkit here. Not toolkit, but all the extra screws and such. It's handy to have these. These things, different things here. Another Phanteks badge in here, and some zip ties for your cable management, which is great. And that's kind of it, really. That's it for that box. So here we have it. This is the bare chassis for the Phanteks Evolv Shift 2, the second version of their Evolv Shift. I chose the Shift line, not the Shift Air, just because I like the tempered glass look. And as you can see, in this open chassis, we have a vertical layout for your graphics card. We also have a vertical layout for the motherboard, which is interesting. That means we're able to access the rear I/O from the top. It makes it a lot easier to access all those ports. It has space. It comes with one rear exhaust fan. It has space for a 120 mil AIO, and as well as an undermounted or lower mounted intake fan. There's actually a filter in here for that, as you can see. There you go. Snaps right in, and there we have it. It also has this interesting bracket, which is magnetic. Get that out, push and push, and it keeps all the cables kind of in place here, right? Very, very well designed, well put together, well thought out case. There we go, just snaps in like that. It also comes with a riser cable for your graphics card because it is a vertically mounted motherboard and vertically mounted GPU. We're going to mount the graphics card here, and then this riser cable feeds into the motherboard, which is good. And we also have a space for a sled. Well, we have a sled for the 2.5 inch SSD. If we go down that road of just adding more storage, there's at least more space. You can also add another sled here, or you can move this sled up here to have your drive up here. So all in all, a very nice compact case. And as well as I'm used to great looking machines, that's why I picked this case up. I think it's one of the best looking cases out there. As you can see here, this is the rear exhaust panel, and it does remind me of a panel from the Death Star out of Star Wars. So, I'm really excited. It's very thick aluminum. There is absolutely no flex in this. Same goes for the front panel. It just has these side mesh grills. And what's interesting about these side grills is that the aluminum or the metal is folded in. There's no real rough edge to this, so it's built very well. Again, very solid aluminum. I love the finish. This anthracite gray is great. You can see that, and as you can see at the bottom here, we have the Phanteks logo. It's very subtle. I'm glad it is very subtle on this. I can't wait to get the components and build this out, build this PC for my work and for this channel. We'll go on this journey together, and I'll share with you the ups and downs because I am not used to building a PC at all. This will be my first one. I've never built an ATX size. So this is interesting that it's going to be a micro ITX. A lot of people say don't start with a micro ITX because there's a lot of frustration just in terms of fit, how things slide in, how components slide in, and that kind of stuff. So again, this is going to be a wild build for me. As always, thanks for watching this video. If you haven't, please consider subscribing. We'd love to get our subscriber count up so that we can provide you with more videos, whether it's in the tech space, whether it's in gaming space, whether it's in the creative space, all these great things that we are all passionate about, everybody on this channel, and we can't wait to bring you more. So subscribe if you can, hit that like button if you like this video. If you have any questions, maybe about building your own micro ITX case, or maybe about this case, or maybe about something else, please leave in the comments below. We'd love to answer your questions, and we'll get our resident PC expert, Phil, to answer those questions for you, because he's the person that I lean on and I ask when I have, and in eventuality, when I will have a lot of questions. So we will be able to cover your questions. So like always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.